So, welcome everybody. My name is Asaf. I'm the CEO and founder of Shin Luxury Tours. We are so happy to host you here today, and let's get started. So, I would like to start with this optimistic image of the beautiful colors of the sun overlooking the city of Jerusalem, the city that so many people, billions and billions around the world, have been loving and praying for its peace. People that believe in Judaism and Christianity and Islam. And I want to start with the hope, specifically during these challenging times, the hope that one day, not very far from today, the sun will shine again on Jerusalem and all the people around the world praying and loving Jerusalem will prevail. So, with the blessing of Passover Eve, I would like to start with the hope of next year in Jerusalem, fam trip of 2025. My promise to you is that the next 25 minutes will be well worth your time. It's going to be fun, funny, and full of insights about luxury travel to Israel. The presentation is actually short and just a fraction of the insights we want to share with you during a one-on-one meeting. Please feel free to reach out. We're super casual, right? We're from the Middle East. In the webinar, we will tackle these topics. One, when would it come back? Two, is it safe to travel to Israel right now? When would it be safer? Three, simple ways we can enrich the connection of our clients for them to be part of Israel's Renaissance. Four, our secret sauce, and finish with the fam trip of 2025 February with all the detailed dates and itinerary. This image is not AI. This is a true image of a soldier near the Gaza Strip, just about to enter the Gaza Strip, finding a moment of reflection, looking into the horizon, playing his violin, and praying together with all the prayers of Jews in Israel and around the world that we will prevail. This war will end, and the crisis will be a opportunity for Jews around the world to come closer to each other and win those dark forces that we saw on October 7th. Now I believe me, I know what's happening. I won't sugarcoat this. We live in historic times. We live in times very similar in a way to 1948, the year that the state of Israel was established, the Six-Day War, and 2023 would be one of those milestones that every Jew around the world will want to actually not only come to Israel, but be part of its renaissance and how we actually grew out of this horrible disaster. So a few words about us. We actually have staff members from all the colors of the rainbow. We have non-Jews, we have Muslims. I personally am the founder, founded the company out of my personal passion to travel. And it occurred to me during COVID, I had time, right? We all had time, maybe too much time to reflect. Looking back of all those experiences We designed over the years, we exist since 2010. And during that time of reflection, I tried to figure it out and figure out what are we different than 100 luxury companies that exist in Israel. Some of them you might work with as TMCs. Same hotels, some of the same guides, some of the same sites. What are we different? And initially, it was very depressing for me. But eventually, I realized what we do and where it came from. It came from my own soul searching as the founder originally, as I was released from one of the Israeli special forces of the IDF, where I grew detached from my emotions. And through travel, I started to feel again. I started to laugh. I started to cry. I didn't cry for all my army years. And I understood that what travel has done to me was bring me closer to myself, my own identity, and to my loved ones. You see, my wife, my beautiful kids, my horses. That's what we did before COVID. And once I put the spotlight on that, on those a life-changing moments, because everything is in the details, right? A moment and another moment and another moment in the large scale of things create what we call life. And we believe that every moment during the travel, specifically for luxury travelers, is a moment that we need to design carefully to be fun, to be happy, to be emotional, and bring people closer to themselves and their identity, if relevant, their Jewish identity, and bring them closer to each other so that the end of the trip, they will say, wow, this wasn't a regular, usual trip. This was an outstanding experience. And we, as our team, together with you, our travel partners, we walk hand in hand for many, many years and see as friends, try in the initial stages of planning to decipher that and curate a trip accordingly. Today, we operate in 3 destinations. We work in Egypt, and we work in Jordan, and we work in Israel. So this is a graph. This is not the Bitcoin chart. This is a graph of the wars of the Israeli wars in comparison to incoming tourists arriving by air. And actually, you see these spikes to the downside are all the wars, like the Second Lebanese War, and you can see immediately after the war ends, boom, Israel is trending very hard. So with high degree of certainty, I can promise you that once we have a ceasefire, everybody would like to come here because everybody heard what happened and want to be part, want to come closer to their Jewish identity, be stronger and maybe be even part of the Jewish Renaissance of after the war. So what are these simple ways we can enrich the connection of our clients to be part of Israel's Renaissance? And as I like to say, our clients, your clients, don't want to be tourists. They don't want to eat stinky food and go to stand in lines. They want to be travelers. They don't want to look at the destination from outside. They want to be part of the Israeli culture, breathe the local air, and feel the beating heart of what's happening here. And how do we do so? We'll first speak about what we do now since October 7th, and also and activities we used to do even before the war, but now they're even more relevant than ever before. You all, I'm sure, heard what happened in the Nova. This was a music festival that turned out to be on October 7th into a horrible massacre. Youngsters who came to celebrate life were slaughtered. It's just a horrible story. that many hundreds and hundreds of youngsters were killed and some were survived. And people from the Jewish community in the United States were horrified, like me, for what happened, and they really wanted to come. So we had a synagogue that designed to come with their congregates to Israel specifically during this time. They came a few months ago, and they said, we want to help. We want to do something that will really matter. So after consulting and speaking with survivors from the festival from Nova, we understood that they now have something like a therapy center in the center in Israel's a coastline. And there, the synagogue from the United States actually donated a party, a dancing party, to celebrate life. Like, it's the biggest recovery and biggest therapy for these people. As one of the kidnaps was released, she's a Nova survivor. She tattooed on her hand, October 7, 2023, "We shall dance again." And eventually, that's what happened. We did a huge party together with the survivors and the people coming from the United States, and it was a sight to see. You see people crying and being happy kind of in the same time. You see the survivors speaking and connecting with the people from the United States, telling them exactly what happened. And as the people left Israel, they told me this is one of the events they won't forget for the rest of their lives. It changed them for the better. I'm sure some of them heard about Rachel from Ofakim. She was kidnapped on October 7th and held as hostage in her own home. She speaks a little Arabic, and she started to speak with the terrorists because she knew it was daylight. She knew she needs to save time and stall until the police will rescue her. She started to give them cola and coffee and eventually even baked them cookies. Long story short is her son, together with his SWAT squad, eventually came and rescued his mom. And she became an Israeli symbol of thinking outside the box. And what we did is that a family coming from the United States, three-generation family, actually wanted to meet her, was inspired by her story, and they met and laughed together and baked. She told them her story and baked cookies together, and they were inspired by this a bravery and creativity of an elderly woman that just wanted to live another day. Another angle we work as well. A lot of our work is FITs, but we have a lot of special projects with NGOs and organization. And together with you, the agents, our valued partners from the United States, we work mainly, 99% of what we do is with North American, United States clientele, is understand and decipher the NGOs or the Jewish organization's agenda. And accordingly, we set them up with the relevant activities. Some ideas is like visiting the wounded, doing a medical clowning workshop, and then going to hospitals to visit the wounded, agricultural volunteer, other kind of volunteer, not just occupational therapy, but actually a donating their time and really helping and making the difference. So I spoke about what happened. Now I would like to speak we spoke about activities during the war, and we believe it's safe enough to travel to here even now, and specifically now. It's an experience that they will never have the opportunity to experience elsewhere, specifically now, specifically in Israel. However, we do understand that some people are hesitant to come to a war zone, although we believe it's safe. I raise my kids here and I live here by the border, the Syrian border, but I do understand people are hesitant. So I would like to share with you some of the activities, in fact, 3 hands-on activities out of hundreds we designed for people from the United States that we did before the war, so you understand the vibe of what we're doing. And once the war ends, we count on you to do good marketing for Israel and be part of the renaissance of Israel after the war through supporting us, supporting the Israeli economy. So 3 examples of hands-on ideas we did before the war, not relating directly to what happened in October 7th. So we had a trip of Jewish teen that we tried, their educators tried to decipher how to skip, the cynicism, and how to make them engaged and not being buried in their iPhones all day in social media. And through a lot of different kind of playful activities, they really were engaged around the country in an 8-day tour. When on their first stop in Jerusalem, we led them to the Western Wall with their eyes closed and revealing the Western Wall for the first time, getting them super excited and engaged the whole trip. Another special bar mitzvah is we spoke with the family through several meetings in planning stage, understanding how fond they feel about the state of Israel and about the Israeli army. And this is the army of the people, the army of the Jews after 2,000 years of Jews living in the diaspora. And in fact, we came up with an idea of the bar mitzvah kid preparing a presentation about a brave soldier from the 6-Day War who was the first of the soldiers liberating Jerusalem after 2,000 years. It didn't belong to the Jewish people, the old city of Jerusalem. And this soldier, the boy now, this was 2018, speaks to his family of 3 generations, some of them Holocaust survivors, next to the Western Wall in the old city, describing how the soldier, his name is Yoram Zamush, walks for the first time in the old city of Jerusalem after 2,000 years of exile and going up Temple Mount and putting the flag, the Israeli flag, the Star of David, after so many years. And everybody starts crying. And in the end of the presentation, we organized the perfect moment. We brought Yonina. I assume you're familiar. It's a famous band that they had a special song for that moment. And that soldier who liberated Jerusalem and lifted the flag on the Temple Mount, now he's 82, came to meet the bar mitzvah boy in complete surprise. Of course, we'll send you all this beautiful video in an email. And the last example is about one of the wealthier clubs in the United States. It wanted to meet high-ranked official. So we arranged them meetings in the palace, King's Palace of Jordan, meeting with Prime Minister Lapid, Naftali Bennett, Gantz, Tzipi Livni, all to get a geopolitical view of firsthand of the state of Israel. So I would like to introduce now Shaked, who is with us today. She is the CMO, and she will take the lead from here on, explaining is Israel actually safe to travel?
Thank you, Asaf. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. As Asaf said, my name is Jack, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about safety and travel in Israel. So, as Asaf said, we're not going to sugarcoat it, and of course, that Israel is not, is not as safe as it was to travel. However, I do want to I do want to shed some light on where are the dangerous areas, and I do want to say that yes, there are areas that are safe to travel, giving you a little bit of the feeling that we're experiencing here today. So first off, as Israelis who live in Israel, I live in Tel Aviv, and I live in the center of the country, and in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and the areas surrounding it. So you can look at the map and see Tel Aviv, Yafo. You can see Jerusalem, all the area that's distant from the northern border, next to Lebanon and next to Syria, and all the area that is distant from the Gaza Strip. These areas are actually living very normal lives, and I want to say we wouldn't have taken travelers and tourists to go and travel in Israel if we wouldn't have felt safe to walk around here. The picture you see next to it, I decided to put something from my personal life, and I like to dance. That's my off time. That's what I do for fun, and I dance Lindy Hop and swing. And this picture is from just lately. People have gone back to dancing in the streets. It's part of what Asaf mentioned as the Israeli Renaissance, where even though things are not great and they're hard and we're dealing with a lot, dancing and feeling alive is something that everybody feel almost like it's inevitable for us to do as an outlet, and you feel it in the streets. So in Tel Aviv, we feel safe enough to go out in the streets and dance, and everything feels very, it's sort of a weird sense of normalcy under war. And that brings us to, is it safe to travel to Israel? So our travels now, as you probably know, they're not there. Most of it is not the usual, bar mitzvah tours that go up to the northern border and go down maybe around the strip. But we do have volunteer missions and people who come here because they want to take part in doing something significant and contributing to Israeli population, to the country. And we do go with them to the Gaza Strip. Just lately, I've been with a group in Kibbutz Re'im, which is right next to the Nova Festival, and we helped farmers there who really are desperate for working hands. And I can say that even though we were right next to the Gaza Strip, there was no sense of danger. We all felt, we all felt like good, and it even feels good just to be there next to the people who actually live there and go through that every day. But there is a sense of security and safety. Obviously, if people want to come now and not go next to the border areas, we would completely accommodate that. And we just wanted to let you know that we wouldn't take your tourists, we wouldn't take your travelers anywhere where we wouldn't go ourselves, and anywhere where we wouldn't send our families, because for us, safety is number one. So that's a little bit about safety in Israel right now, and we do predict that the future is going to bring a much safer Israel to travel, possibly more than even more than before. Here, what we put together for you is a kind of a like a sample menu of some of the great experiences that we have, that we still do, and also a little bit of longing to traveling Jerusalem and letting you know that that things right now still look like this, and people can still do bar and bat mitzvah celebrations. People in Tel Aviv, there's still a very active nightlife. Jerusalem is still home for the three big monotheistic religions, and people do get along. And what you see in the picture, in the middle picture on the right-hand side, is part of our new graffiti tour that follows the artworks that would, again, this is not AI, this is an actual painting on the wall in Tel Aviv. And this is part of our tour following the art that expresses the feelings of people in Israel and how it is shown in street art. I do want to, the map in the middle is here because I do want to go over a little bit. We finally made it to talking about our fam trip. So the fam trip is going to take place in February. We are going to start in Jerusalem for a weekend, and we're going to be there Thursday through Sunday. Then we're going to go up north, and we're going to tour the Galilee and the Golan. Again, not close to the border to make sure everybody is safe. And we're going to sample some great local food. We're going to talk about geopolitics and about the changing situation up in the north. We're going to have a great time and do a lot of like fun, active adventures to make them memorable. And you guys are going to see exactly what your travelers are going to experience and how they're going to have a life-changing experience in Israel. And that's also correct for Jerusalem, where we're going to meet with a lot of different people from the rainbow, the cultural rainbow that is Jerusalem. And after the north, we're going to go down to Tel Aviv, finish for a couple of nights there. And in Tel Aviv, we're going to experience the city and the vibe the way that it is now, with the different ways in which you can really become a part of the local atmosphere. We're going to sample the food. We're going to see the street art. We're going to go into the markets, and we're going to meet with local people. We're going to sample the nightlife. We're going to do everything in our power to have you sense the vibe and the people and the culture, and making it completely accessible and make you completely immersed in it, so that you can feel how we treat your tourists, your clients, when they come and travel with us.
So Shaked, can you please share also what's the next steps for signing for the fam trip?
Yes, absolutely. So in order to sign up to the fam trip, first off, it's great that you guys are here. And we're going to send you the itinerary on probably on Monday. We're going to send out the itinerary for everybody. And you guys are going to see that there are 2 tiers that you can join in. The first tier is going to have a very, very low price bar. The second tier is slightly higher. Still, the majority of the trip is completely subsidized. And we're going to contact you and let you know. We're picking the names through a raffle. So we're using a Google raffle generator, name generator, and that we're going to put all the names of the people who took the time to be here and tell us that they're interested. And we're going to pick 10 random names to be in the first tier, and then Asaf 10 more, right, for the second tier.
Yes.
Just to make sure. Yep, and 10 more for the second tier. And we are sincerely hoping to bring here people who are excited about Israel, who have faith in this place, in this land, and in traveling to it, and making sure to be ambassadors of this of this message to your communities and to your clients. Asaf,
okay, thank you so much for coming, and see you next year in Jerusalem. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.